is the bronze plaque that was, past tense, was on the time tunnel out at Tropico. It's actually in the tunnel that goes out of the glory hole of the mine. And it's a was because bronze has salvage value, and a couple of years ago it was taken.
Oh.
Stolen, yeah.
Borrowed.
And with a lot of damage done in the attempts of getting it out. Dave, I think they took the wood, off.
Destroyed the wood face on the time capsule.
Yeah,
And they thought they were going to get in and it's solid concrete for sure.
yeah. What they don't realize, it's like, what, 10 feet of concrete? But the Historical Society, on a piece of material that we hope has no salvage value, has duplicated this word for word. And as soon as I can get Rick and some of you guys at the mine to help, we'll get this replaced. So anyway, that was my first announcement.
Would you like to read what it says?
Okay, well, it's the same words that are up there. It says, Tropico Time Tunnel, seal, November 20, 1966. Material in this tunnel was gathered during the year 1966 by Kern Antelope Historical Society to commemorate Kern County Centennial.
Yes.
This tunnel to be opened in year 2866. Of course, we're all going to be there. When Kern County celebrates its 1000th anniversary or birthday, Jack Tomlinson of San Francisco State College originated the plan. The tunnel site was donated by Burton Brothers Incorporated, Mining Company Incorporated. So we have at least a replacement. The other thing that I wanted to mention, although many of you already know, is that we have books for sale, and one of the books is called Digging for Gold? No, Gold Fever. Gold Fever, 40 Years Digging Antelope Valley History. The first half of this book was written by Clifford's mother and sister. And a lot of what you're going to hear tonight is in this book because he took his mother and his sister's notes to put together what he's going to say tonight. The last half of this book is about the history of the Historical Society, which was written by Glenn Settle. And these books are for sale for $10. If you join, they're 25% off, so that would make them $7.50. Clifford said he would sign any of these books that you would like signed. The other, one more thing is that we have a board meeting scheduled in 2 weeks at my house. And any member is welcome to come. I just wanted to mention 5 o'clock in 2 weeks at my house. And I think that's all I have to say because we have a very, very special person. Siobhan, would you like to do the introductions?
I would love to. Is this on? No.
It is now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All righty. Am I on? Okay. I will use the microphone, not because nobody could hear me, but because I want to make sure Clifford can hear me well.
Oh, good.
Okay? Does that work?
Sure.
This is like having Elvis Presley come to speak to Roseman. So to have Clifford Burton come to speak, this is our rock star. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and to have all of you be willing to share this fantastic history, we are just awestruck that you value Clifford's story, the story of Roseman, as much as we do as a historical society. We have been working with him. I am not a miner or an engineer, and we have tried to coordinate pictures with the narrative of his story. And we have gone over the pictures, and we're going to try and maybe pause a little bit, and maybe Gretchen will be our Vanna White and point out a couple of things as we go that are of interest that you might just kind of skip over and miss if you weren't really tuned in. We also realize that part of being a historical society is we're not the young teenage society, so our hearing isn't as good as it should be. So we're going to ask that if you have questions, you're really loud, and that if you have a side conversation, you don't. Because older people, that background noise makes it very hard for them to understand and follow what's going along. So my granddaughter has been well versed in old people's talk, so I'll give all the rest of you the same lesson I give her whenever we go to have these conversations. So without further ado, we're going to start, and with every good story, and that's what history is. History is a really good story. Dave Forney wrote a little narrative for us about being in the boxcar camp down at Burton's mine. It's just a one-page story. Fascinating. It makes you just want to grab a hold of him and say, tell me more. And what he did was he ran over and grabbed a hold of Clifford and said, and tell me more. And so with every good story, you have to have a producer. And we as the Kern Antelope Historical Society, our job is to produce these stories. We want this history to be preserved. We want it to have value for us. We want it to have value 1,000 years from now. Within every good story, there are characters. And so these are a little bit small, and so Gretchen is going to be our Vanna White and explain who are the characters of this story. So Gretchen?
We have one character with us, right there. Clifford Greenleaf Burton. He is the son of H. Clifford Burton. And now this is my only complaint about the Burton family. They use the same name again and again. H. Clifford Burton, who went by Cliff, and Alice Elizabeth Greenleaf. H. Clifford Burton had two brothers with the mother, Millicent Boatwright Burton. That was Alex and Cecil. And now Cecil appears again in the Burton line. But anyway, this right here is our Cliff sitting right over there. So he and Doreen Burton settled were brother and sister. Do I need to go further?
No.
Well, I'm going to give just a little bit here. Doreen Settle was instrumental, she and her husband, in putting together the book that we have tonight, that is their story. I'm going to throw out just a couple of names right here. The McNamees are related to the Burtons, and the McNamees are related to the Loomises. We have all this genealogy here if you want to make sure that you're not dating your cousin. So that, and within every good story, you have the star. And this is Clifford Burton as a young man, and this is his story. So Clifford, we will let you begin.
Okay. Well, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Well, I've been asked to talk about the Tropico Gold Mine and the Burtons that had part in its history. So, you know, some of you here may be old enough or lived here long enough to even know some of the people who worked there or were still running. And others may have just heard stories about it. But I don't think any of you, I doubt if anyone, have heard the complete story from the beginning to the complete end. So I now take you back to England, the beginning. And so I'll just read this here, just a second. I want to make sure I get it. I will begin with my father's father, William Morris Burton, who was born in Bridgenorth, Shropshire County, England. He was an adventurous sort of lad. He grew up by the sea, and he loved the sea, and he served aboard. He served as a what was he called? Apprentice as midshipman on a sailing ship to go around the world. So this is his first real adventure. So they left England, sailed around southwest and around the Cape Horn of South America into Valparaiso, Chile. And that was a base stopping point for all the sailing vessels. So they loaded up with provisions, water, and so forth, because they had to go a long ways across the Pacific to the Philippines. So they got to the Philippines, went on to Singapore, and from Singapore into the Indian Ocean, down around the Cape Horn of Africa, and back to England. Well, it took them more than 20 years, but because they had storms and so forth. So he was kind of glad to get back to England after all that, but he didn't stay there very long. He went to South Africa, Kimberley, South Africa, for diamonds. There was a diamond boom on. So there he found a few diamonds, and came back home a bearskin rug. I guess it's bears in South Africa too. I didn't know that. But so that he settled down in Southend-on-Sea, and they opened a grocery store. And I think you got a picture there of Southend-on-Sea. It's just down away, I guess maybe 60 or so miles from London on the Thames River. So that's kind of locates it for you. Well, he opened, it was great success. And he opened his business, he called it the Universal Foods Company, what was that he called it? But anyway, it was great success. He made a lot of money because he did a good business. And but it was not very exciting, participating in the business. He thought of his and we married and had 4 sons. And he thought of his 4 sons, and they were adventurous, energetic, and why living here? Just in England, you know, with nothing going on, and so on. So he thought of elsewhere. Where could he go? Oh, the United States. He'd never been to America. I mean, he thought about America. Well, then one day in Field and Stream magazine, he read this advertisement of land out in Antelope Valley in Southern California. Oh, they had acres of land, lots of, and many artesian wells, flowing artesian wells, and barn, or no barn, I guess a house, and what else? But, and wild game, yeah. Well, when I think now, him coming, anyway, he purchased it, But then he did go, he purchased sight unseen first, but he thought he better go out and just see it before he brought the family out. So he went out, came out, looked okay, and went back and got him out. I was just thinking at this point how easy it was to get there from England to there. Because he just took a steamer across, maybe took a week to get across the Atlantic, got on the train, came cross country, and they had just linked up Mojave with Los Angeles, came through Lancaster, so they had to just get off the Mojave, came right to Lancaster. This compared with the poor guys in the 1849 gold rush of San Francisco. They had to either come cross country, took weeks, and dangers of Indians, wild Indians, or bandits, or the option was to sail around the Horn, clear up. That took weeks also. And here they were in just a matter of a short time. But so they got off the train in Lancaster. Well, what they saw there was just one street in Lancaster, just a single dirt street with a few buildings there. I don't know if you have a picture of Lancaster.
Oh, well, that was the map, Clifford.
I am pointing to the main street in Lancaster. Avenue I, there's 60th, this is Lancaster.
That's your map, Clifford, with the railroad on the
Oh,
right.
that's our map, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Avenue I.
Yeah, see Lancaster there, and there was a depot. And so you would drive, they would have picked up some transportation, bought some horses and wagons, I guess, and gone just up towards
Avenue
9
I,
Avenue I,
yeah, right there.
and out to 60th Street West, and that's where it is. And you know, Ryan, how I know that's where it is? It'd be because when I was a young boy, my father, we used to drive down 60th, and he looked over there, and he said, see, there it is, still there, one of the reservoirs with trees growing. When it rained, they would fill up with water, well, down. When you go down there, of course, it's dry, it's been a drought. Everything's dried up and dead. But you can still see this little green there. I'm sorry, my voice is getting, let me have a big water. I'm talking too fast.
Oh, you're doing just fine.
Well, I hope I not forget something good. Anyway, you still see just a little, if you look close, there's a yellow road. Well, I gotta just take them over here.
Well, he's looking, this is the ranch in case you don't know it.
Oh, yeah, there's
Here
the
it
ranch.
is, yeah. You want me to point out the pictures? This is his grandfather, grandmother, his father.
But, well, they continued on, it was pretty good, they're doing quite well. But then they realized that the soil was alkaline, it was getting more alkaline or something. And so they wouldn't grow, didn't grow well, it was alfalfa. Besides that, they had a drought. So William, the father of everybody, and his wife, they decided to move to Vancouver, Canada. Well, located on the Fraser River. Lots of water on that Fraser River. And there's beautiful green grass of the deltas. So they had just the opposite to Antelope Valley. But my father didn't want to go. He'd come here to this new world, and he wanted to get out there and look at it, explore. He was more adventurous than his father. He was, But so, well, and Cecil stayed too. He didn't like farming much, so So my father was there, and he thought, well, what should I do? He decided, I want to look for gold. Well, this old prospector had got talking to this old prospector who said they found gold up in Ballarat. Do any of you know where Ballarat is? Up near Death Valley, up in the Panamint Valley. If not, there's a few fixed maps. You can figure out where you are. There's one.
Gretchen, you want to point it out?
Baker Shed over somewhere.
Ballarat.
That's, you can point it out there. There's two maps. You got both of them?
No, I just did one. Sorry, Cecil.
Oh, well, anyway,
Clifford.
Ballarat. Anyway, if you go up, how many have been over that route to Death Valley, the northern, come in by Stovepipe Wells, you know that route? Well, that route, Ballarat goes just north of it. Ballarat's not on the highway, because it was there before the highway was built. I think there was only a trail probably going up those days. But anyway, it was quite an outpost for all the settlers out that way. And let's see, I can check my notes here again. See.
You're at the bottom of page 2. Clifford, at the bottom of page 2.
Oh, I've added those something in here. Oh, so he, find my place here. Anyway, so he said we should go there. So they set off for Ballarat on horseback. It took several days to get there because it's long distance. You see the map there, I guess, how long is this from Antelope Valley to Ballarat. As they traveled, though, Clifford realized his would-be partner was a drunkard. He was drunk most of the time. So at Ballarat, Cliff parted with him. And I'll go to another thing here now. A man named Mel Sanford had come from Texas to Ballarat to prospect for gold. When he arrived at Ballarat, he found there, I'll read these out, kind of interesting, 4 saloons, 3 restaurants, a 2-story hotel made of adobe, and a general merchandise store, lumber, a Mexican laundry, several adobe residences, a blacksmith, a shop, a feed yard, and a cemetery. Well, so that was what he found. Well, he was kind of broke, quite hardly, but there was the general store was a man named Teagle, Ed Teagle. He's known in the history there. He had several stores around. Well, so Mel Sanford needed some money. He needed a job. So he did. So he gave him a job in the store. Well, so he worked there for a while. Well, one day, Clifford arrived alone, tired, hungry, and walked all the way, finally got there. So Mel, sugar. He gave him some food. And they got well acquainted. So they both realized they really got along fine. They realized they both come here for gold. So let's partner. Let's partner up. We'll go together. So now I read Be sure I get these right now. As I've said, Valley was at Panamint Valley. They had found some gold in the north end of the Panamint Valley, but nothing had been found south of Valley. So they thought, well, let's go south. So they got the burros and the supplies and everything, because Mel had some money to do this. And they went along day by day, looking for quartz veins, picking away there, panning, and trying any sign of gold. And I think about the 6th day out, they hit it. They found this vein, pan gold. Well, the word got out that they found gold there. Well, there was a big mine going in Goldfield, Nevada. I mean, that was a really big strike over there. They were really mining away. And so there were these promoters that would like to find, maybe outline, some surroundings that they hadn't found. Something like maybe Clifford and Mel had found. So he heard about that, and he got over there, and he looked at it. He gave him $5,000. $5,000. That was big money.
Yeah.
Well, so Mel went on back to out in Texas, I guess El Paso maybe, and Clifford went back to down to the Antelope Valley. So then what to do with this money? He went to Los Angeles to an assay school where he learned to do fire assaying.
Oh, whoops.
For gold and silver. And also he took a correspondence course in engineering. So then he knew there was something. Anyway, about this time, or even before this even, Ezra Hamilton found gold on Tropico Hill. The east end of Tropico Hill, up near the top, you can still see the workings up there. Where he found this really high-grade ore. And so it came right to the surface. It was not real wide, maybe 2 feet wide. And I want to read you some numbers of a picture I saw that he took. It's outcrop. Ezra Hamilton stacked several gold bricks and sold bars, one on the other. Ezra had noted the total weight of the bars in ounces, as well as the total ounces per ton per assay. By dividing one of the other, gave 10 ounces of gold of ore, 10 ounces of gold per ton of ore. So 10 ounces per ton at $20 an ounce. Equals $200 a ton. This means that mining and processing 10 tons of ore yielded $2,000. 10 tons could be mined in one day. $20,000 per day makes a good paycheck. So Hamilton became quite wealthy. He bought Willow Springs and built a hotel in Rosamond. And there was a group a group of gentlemen who lived in the town of Tropico in San Fernando Valley were looking for some gold mines, something to invest, and they learned of Ezra's great find. They were looking for, so they contacted him. by this time the mine was nearly worked out, as it didn't really extend very deep, you know. So Edward sold it to him. So they had bought the east end, the west end, excuse me. Well, then they looked, what's to the east? The west, it's on the east end, west end. Let's go over there. Well, there was a black man that had a cattle ranch right at the foot of the hill there. He had homesteaded, I guess. He'd come out from the south. He was the son of a freed slave. And he poked around up on the mine, on the hill there, right above it. And he saw a little bit, something a little bit like might be gold. But he told him, oh, it didn't amount to much, and anyway, he didn't want to be in the mining business. He's in the cattle business. So he sold it to him. I don't know how much.
And Clifford, can I stop you there for just a moment? This was Charles Graves.
Charles Graves, yes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't say his name, did I?
No.
Yeah, Charlie Graves, or Charles Graves, yes.
And if you were looking at the Tropico Mine, right back there was Charles Graves' ranch, correct?
Yes, that's it right there. You can up at the mine there, right at the middle. Right.
So for the Graves family, if you didn't know where your grandfather's ranch was, that would be that location.
Yeah. So they right about where he had located his claim there, they drove a tunnel in, and they crossed in about 100 feet or so. They crossed through real rich vein. And if any of you got on tours, the tunnel's still there. And
Clifford, this is what the ore looks like in a rich vein, right?
yeah. Well, see that white in the middle there? That's white quartz. And that's the vein. You can see it's dipping 60 degrees down, and that's the hanging wall, and that's the footwall. And that's really rich. I took a sample of that one time, some time ago, and I think it went 2 or 3 ounces. I just chipped off a little bit. But they left it there as a pillar because they didn't want to, they're afraid they're taking out so much opening, they might cave in, and it was right near the shaft. The shaft, I think you have a picture of the shaft. Oh, there's the tunnel that goes in there, and the shaft is right at the very end. Is there a picture looking up?
Yeah, we'll get to that one because I'm not coordinated enough to go to the end of it. So I'll make you go back and tell that story, okay?
No, can't you have show the who took those pictures just recently?
Yeah,
They had
that's okay.
one that was looking up, was it a skip, you know?
This one right here?
Yeah, yes, that's it. See the wheels, and then there's a track, and timbers, and it goes down on that 60-degree slope. And that's the tropical vein. Looking for, if you would go in that tunnel today, you can see that same view. So that was where they started. They was really rich over there, and they started sinking. So that shaft wasn't there. I mean, they started sinking shaft down 60 degrees, and then they began running levels every 100 feet, and then stoked out the ore in between levels. They called that shrinkage stoke. That's the old method of shrinkage stoke, because the ore expands as you break it. And you draw out just enough ore, but the waste still keeps in there. And you draw out the waste pulls back from caving, so you don't have to go back in there. Well, so that was, I just mentioned, so I stay on course here, don't get lost. Also, they formed this Tropico mining company, I guess I said. And they did quite well. There was mining. They were really mining well, and doing making some money. But they had this. Oh, then that's when Clifford noticed all this going on there, and he wondered if he could get a job up there. So he went up. They gave him a job, and when they found out he had all this training, assaying and engineering, they made him superintendent. So he went over, looked over their mill, what they had set up, but right away he said, "Oh, you're losing much of the gold in this mill. It's no good. You're maybe 40% going out in the tailings. You're only getting 60%. You need to do better than that." Well, they said, "Well, build us a proper mill. Build us a good one." So he went to work, and he built this mill, and I'll explain here a little bit about the mill. So he built this stamp mill, had 10 stamps, followed by, now you've got a picture, there's a stuff now. Now that's outside, this is the same door rolling inside. And it has 10 stamps in there. And that crushed up the ore. And then followed by that below, down to the bottom, there was water came in and washed it down over copper plates, and from time to time the millman would scrape that off and put it in the containers. And when they got enough there, they would take it down. They had a distillation set up, and I'll maybe explain how that works. I don't want to get too technical here, but this is what they collect is called amalgam. After amalgam and collected, you collect this with a putty knife or some kind of scraper. It's taken to this distillation device consisting of a glass tube set on a vertical angle, probably 60, 70 degrees. And this amalgam, the bottom of the end of the tube is a flame. A flame is at the bottom, so that vaporizes the mercury and leaves the gold. So that's how you separate it. And at the top they have some water jacket, which cools the mercury, goes back to liquid. So they collect the mercury to do it again. Well, then they call this sponge because of all the little holes that were filled with mercury. That's taken down to a furnace. They have a big furnace, puts a flux with it to lower the melting point, put in the furnace and heated way up to about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That melts gold. Gold melts at high melting temperature, but the gold all goes to the bottom. It's the heaviest thing there is, gold. It's even heavier than lead, you know. And the slag, it forms on top, all the impurities on top. So then they pour that into a mold. Well, the first pour just comes out with the impurity, makes slag glass. So then the second comes, pretty soon comes the gold. They pour that out and let it all cool. Well, they dump it over and chip all the glass off, the slag, And then they had the gold mine, maybe gold and silver. Silver comes with it. So there you got the finished product. Well, that's sold. They had to sell that to the mint. Well, in the beginning, I don't know, way back, but they usually sold that to the mint, and let's see.
And they sold it in blocks like this, right, Clifford?
Well, there's a gold brick. Yes, that's one. That's a gold brick, yeah. So. So that's the end of the process. The Tropico Milling Company, then Tropico Mining Company, was really had set to go ahead. They did really well there. They got a good production rate and made lots of money. And yeah, there was some that shaft deeper and deeper, and more tunneling. But pretty soon it ran out. The ore ran out. The vein was still there, but no gold. Contained no gold. They followed it. They followed the vein.
Really, really hot. We might open those back doors a little bit. Can we crack those back doors? Because I just ran outside and it's much cooler outside than inside. Does that put too much air or light? Yeah, that's quite a bit of light. Is that too much light on the screen?
No.
I'll turn these lights off if you want.
Okay.
Now,
We should be getting more air in here.
Yeah.
okay, you go ahead.
Yeah, you're good.
Anyway, but they're running out of money. So they couldn't. Well, Clifford continued to follow that without pay, hoping that he could keep the company going. So kept on going, but nothing could be found. So they declared bankruptcy. The old Tropico Mining Company declared bankruptcy. Well, it came up for auction, and my father was the only bidder, and they had wages against him, so he got the whole thing. It became over, just overnight. So what to do with it? Well, he had great confidence that there's gold there, because he'd seen so much there, there must be more. So he got a hold of his brother, Cecil. And so Cecil, he and Cecil went to work. Well, my father owned the property, and Cecil was going to do the work, the labor. So my father, they agreed to have 2/3, and Cecil had 1/3. So they got to work, drove on. Well, they drove on some more and more. Well, I think in about 100 feet, as my father told me, they hit this fault, a fault, running, he's going northwest. He's going west. This fault came right across all this gouge, you know, that the fault makes. They followed through another 100 feet, and there was the vein again. They moved over, and high-grade ore. So they were in there. Well, that was great. So that's a whole new chapter.
That's the different shafts, Gretchen.
Yeah, I think we
That's
should point
Tropico
this-
Hill, right?
Yeah. You want to talk about, here's the Lida. Isn't that the one that Ezra?
Yeah, the Lida. Oh, did you want to say something about Ezra Hamilton? You knew a lot about Ezra Hamilton. More than I did, I guess.
That's okay, we're here to hear about you.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure,
that's the
but-
Lida. And then
Okay.
there's the kid that's over there.
That's the kid shack.
That's the original
Now,
stripe.
the Tropico
Yes.
is way
Original
over
stride
there.
right there. And then the kid
You
shack.
see the tailings pond there, all that white? All that white, the Tropico Hill is right up there.
Yeah, here's the tailings, right?
And that's where the tunnel is. That's where it all started. That's why they call it the
There's another
Tropico
shack.
Vein.
There's the glory hole, which is that big open
That was,
open
yeah,
area.
that was later.
Here's Tropico shack. And that's mill and, can't read what that is.
Mill and office buildings.
Okay, mill and office buildings are right here. Anything else for me to point out? Because you maybe can see it better than I can.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Okay.
So let's see maps of all the gold mines. It's hard to do. We have four final.
So they made a lot of money. They began hiring men to increase production. And then came World War I. Well, Yost Cecil and Clifford joined the army and went to France. And they were there for 2 years. The war was over in 1918. The brothers came home, fortunately with no injuries, and began mining and milling again. They got the mill going. Tropical shaft was deepened to 600 feet with levels of 100-foot level intervals from which stoping was done. My father got married to Alice Greenleaf, and I was born in 1925. I was named Clifford Greenleaf Burton. To avoid confusion, I went by Clifford G. Burton, my father by H. Clifford Burton. Oops, did I,
Yeah, I think I got you unhooked here.
just too late, you probably can't hear me now.
How's that working?
That stays on there.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I hope so. I'll have to keep you there. Okay.
I'll stand here so you can manipulate it.
Okay. Clifford, you want to tell us about this
Look
picture?
at this picture. Who is that?
This is heavy. Oh, that's me. Oh, my grandfather, his name was Greenleaf. Yeah, it was my mother's maiden name. Just come look. It's over, maybe it should be on top of my ear.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be over around your ear.
I was tucking his glasses
You
around
got
there.
some Scotch tape?
Oh, you've got too much hair.
I didn't think there was that much of it. Okay. Off and running, I guess.
We're getting feedback.
What was I here?
All right, so here, you know. you want-
Clifford, on your
talk
picture.
Talk about the picture. Talk about this rock you're sitting on.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about the picture. Fell off again. I'll just take the whole rock like that. I should think it'd stay on my ear like that. Can you hear me there?
Yes.
Good.
Okay, I'm just gonna hold it then.
Okay.
Let's see,
While he's looking, I'll tell you, the rock rolled over on his foot.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And you see, that was the size of the rock.
And then that big rock fell on my foot. Oh, everybody found out. Well, then my grandfather had this plane he was working on. and I was running around there. They fell on my foot, they said, oh my goodness, probably broke his foot. Well, they got the rock off, and it didn't, lo and behold, it was okay. It was a little sore, but they had to take this picture with that big rock. So, oh yeah, and, so they came from home from the war, and then, anyway, got the middle road, and the stump bed and the amalgam plates were replaced by ball mills and cyanide tanks. That was better, more efficient. And so, yeah, I think you have some pictures. There's a ball mill.
That's a ball mill.
Yeah, there's a ball mill still there today. There's two of them. And the cyanide tanks, I think maybe you got pictures of cyanide. Now those were flotation cells. That was not part of, that wasn't in there at that time. Those were,
Whoops, Clifford, I think that was my fault.
Yeah.
I got confused.
yeah, you should forget that one.
Okay.
I will explain all that. Now, you got the picture.
That's the shovel there in the glory hole.
Oh, that's much later. That's in the, at this time. Now,
Okay, I don't think I had any
get
pictures
the
in
mill,
between.
the mill pictures, where they're building the mill, the cyanide tanks and all that.
You have
And
tanks.
Cecil Burton didn't, is that? I can't
Why don't
tell.
you go back to that one that shows Cecil
Okay, the one that
pushing the
shows-
wheelbarrow?
Okay.
That's why I think they're building the mill.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah.
There, on the wheelbarrow,
Uh-huh.
and yes, Cecil.
Yeah.
So he worked right along with the guys. And they were, and there's, they can see the mill building up behind there. So there's another one too there. It's a couple more, I think, in that middle area. If you can find
Well,
it.
we can go on though.
Yeah, I think I mixed them up there.
You wanna skip
Sharon
on?
thinks she mixed them up, yeah.
Now there, that's different, isn't it?
No, that's the one with Cecil pushing the wheelbarrow.
Well, maybe we'll just forget that if we can't find it.
Yeah, I've lost it.
Well, we can show it later. It doesn't matter. You can see, oh, that's an aerial view.
Aerial view.
They didn't have airplanes, but just way back then. So that's later, that's much later. That's more like today. Well, should I go on?
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so anyway, then in 1938, President Roosevelt raised the price of gold from $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce. That was a tremendous boost, making profit better than ever. At the west end of the mine, a vertical shaft was sunk to 750 feet depth, and crosscuts driven out to intersect the vein. This was run following the vein to develop ore, and very rich ore was developed, some of the richest ore in Tropico, as much as 2 ounces of gold per ton. Well, then World War II began, 1941, and Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japanese. President Roosevelt ordered coal mines be shut down.
You have that.
All miners must go into the copper mines. Copper being an essential metal for making shell casings. If they didn't go to the copper mines, they would be drafted in the army. So Tropico mine had to shut down. My father continued pumping water from the mine because it was below water table. that was to keep us from flooding. He was allowed to keep hiring several of the older men to keep the pumps running and keep working on timbering and so forth, to keep the workings open. Where was it?
Did you lose it? I got it. You're on.
Hold it there, will you, for a minute? Oh. So, now, what I was doing. When the war began, I was a student at UC Berkeley, the Hearst School of Mines. In my third year, I was about to be drafted, so I joined the Navy in 1944 and went to sea in the Pacific. I was sent to Japan and later to Shanghai, China. Then I was sent home and discharged in 1946. My father had begun mining in Tropico. I worked together with him for a time. And so I'll tell you the story. We had to sell our gold to the U.S. Mint in San Francisco.
We need the airplane.
I had a little Cessna airplane and knew how to fly. So I would load gold bricks in my plane, one or two, depending on the weight and my weight, and the gasoline I was carrying. Didn't want to be overweight. And take them up, fly up, and land at the San Francisco airport. Those days, a private plane could land there. All you had to do was call them on your radio, and they had two runways. One was, well, both of them was with big planes. But if you call them in, they say, well, take the right-hand lane, and you'll see another big plane coming in on the left lane. So here I flew right on up, head to head with the big one. I turned right, he turned left. We went down together. They said, just as soon as you get turned, just get to the most speed you can get, and get it over and get it on the ground out of the way. So I did that. And so then I'd hire a car and drive up to, I called them in, because I had their phone number, and I told them I was coming in with a brick, gold brick. So I went downtown, the Mint downtown. They opened the big door and I drove down underneath. They had down below the bottles. And in there, they gave the brick, they weighed it up, and gave me a receipt, I guess, and took away of it back to the airport, and flew home again. Well, so that worked very nicely a couple of times. Well, then one day, my friend George McNamee, I don't know if any of you knew the McNamees, was talking to some relative just a while ago.
Yeah, Joe's related. Joe Pendo.
Yeah, well, Thomas. Well, anyway, George worked at the mine, George McNamee, and a good friend. He liked to fly. I mean, he didn't know how to fly, but he really loved to get up with me, and there was some other pilots he liked to fly around. So I said, well, George, why don't you come along? And we'll go out, we'll stay overnight in San Francisco, and we'll go out and have a good time in one of the nightclubs up there. There's some great shows in San Francisco, in the nightclubs. So he hopped in, and we had bars in there. Well, so I knew we had quite a bit of weight with him in there. I gave it a really, the runway was not really very long. I didn't need it long. But I gave her a full gun, everything it had. Took off, went down running, tried to lift it up. No, it's not coming up. hit the runway. We went off in the sagebrush, bounced around and everything. So we got out, nothing hurt. Dug it back on, dug it on, clear on back to George's nest. He got out. So then I took off and got up there and got it delivered. So that's where we did things. But, you see, nothing more to that story.
While he is looking, you can still see the remains of the dirt runway there below the hill where the house is, where the
Yeah, that's right.
Glen
You know where the cat farm is there.
right.
Well, that, she's still the runway,
You can still
runs
see it.
out there, the old dirt runway. Later on, Edison built a wire across. And I thought, well, I did either go under or go over. And I thought, well, I don't know, that's not a very good decision. So, anyway, that, so we mined all that out. Well, then we continued there. What was all? Oh, then my father died in 1949. So I continued on mining, but until all the mines, all the ores, everything we had, all that good, great, high-grade ore, finished, right down to the very bottom. So pumps were pulled, and the mines flooded, and it's over. So that's the story.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, got any questions and all that?
Are there any questions?
Well, must have done a fair job of explaining everything then.
Where was the ranch at?
I'm surprised.
Where was the ranch at, Steve?
The original?
The original ranch?
Yes.
Where was your original ranch at?
You're talking about the great-grandparents?
Yeah,
Oh,
his grandfather.
Me? Where I was born and so?
Your great-grandparents' original ranch. 60th Street. 60th Street, north of Avenue I.
My great-grandfather's, well, my mother's side or my father's? I told you my father, of course.
The picture that was up there on the ranch.
He had no
That was
ranch.
the one on 60th and I.
Yeah.
You want maybe the Greenleafs? The Greenleafs? You know any of the Greenleafs?
The Greenleafs are his mother's side of the family, and there's a couple of really good stories about them, Clifford, if you want to share.
On my mother's side?
On your mother's side,
What was they? What was that?
didn't you have a store on Sierra
Oh, my
Highway?
grandmother. My
Your grand-
grandmother. Virgin Greenleaf, yes. She's my mother's mother. Yeah. Well, she had this store by the railroad on Sierra Highway. It's still there, I think.
It's still there.
That's concrete block.
Yeah.
But she had a store there at a gas pump, and she sold just general articles, you know. And I was in there as a kid. We liked to go in there, and when the trains came by, we'd run out, boy, they'd come roaring through there, you know. And we'd buy candy and so forth. So that was my story. Now, we were probably only about 6 or 7 years old, 5 years. No.
Now, Clifford, you had told me that Roseman Boulevard was not a blacktop road. It was a dirt road.
Oh, yeah. Well, I lived, you know, we were running my house. I was raised in that house right at the foot of the hill. This little house is still there. And I was born in Bakersfield, and my mother brought me over there after a little while, a month or so. And so I grew up there, and then we went to school. Well, a school bus came up. It was called Willow Springs Boulevard. Then Roseman.
Roseman Boulevard was Willow Springs Boulevard when it was a dirt road.
That was the main reason it was built. I suppose reds were probably to get out of Willis Spring. Well, we walked down to, from the mine there, down to Willis Springs Road, and the bus would come and pick us up. Well, it was a dirt road, just a dirt road, and then we just go that 5 miles, I guess, into this little school. And there was 36 kids in the school, and they had 2 rooms. One room was 1 to 4, the other one was 4 to 8. Well, I went there, so I was in the 1st grade, and my sister was 1 year older. She got there. Well, then I was alone at the house, nobody to play with. And so my father said, "Gee, why can't he go to school too? Just go ahead and go." And 5 years old. Well, so I sat there with the 1st grade, and also the 2nd grade was right next to me. I just look over and see what she's doing, and I had nothing. I was supposed to be reading something, but I learned to read pretty fast, so I started reading hers. And so then when they came to pass, teacher said, "Well, you've been learning all this stuff, you might as well just move over there." So I was younger by 1 year than everybody else. And that's, what else about that? Well, that's about all. I guess then I went to high school, of course, in Lancaster. There's no high school in Rosewood, of course. And went through high school there. And then I graduated, and of course, eventually went up to Berkeley, and you've heard the rest of the story from there, right?
Right. Janet?
Well, just a story that I think I read about you. Didn't you learn that gasoline burned? Are you the one that learned that? Seemed like that was mentioned.
Did you learn that gasoline burned?
Burn as in a like a
When I
fire.
was very young, and I was home a lot of the time. My sister, before she was away. Well, let's see. Well, anyway, she was, I guess that's when she was in school. Well, when she came, while she was there, I fooled around. We had a gasoline pump there. So, there was only one pump in town. We get gasoline brought out, and with trucks and so on. So I got into mischief there, got a little of that gasoline, and I light a little match. Well, it burned. It burned, but it got right in there. And so when my sister came home, she said, "I told her, oh, you burns." Oh. So we went over, so there was a little house back there. And one end of it, my father had dynamite stored in it, boxes of dynamite stored. Because he was in the dynamite business too. There was no other place to buy dynamite, so we called this Tropico Powder Company. But so there was another. This has been used previously as a boarding house, I guess. And there was a little place in the next room, and so I showed her. I said, "See, it burns, but gee, it's flamed up." Oh, and it was all paper. And it's caught fire. So we ran out of it. It hid. Oh, they'll be we'll be punished for that. Well, they all ran out. They quickly ran in and started getting the dynamite. They got most of it. I think just about all. Yeah, it never did blow up. Then were the kids. How did they get out? So they got there running around, and so, but instead of, they were so glad to see us. We were okay.
It fell off again.
I guess you heard that sorry for
I think it's in the
that.
book.
Yeah, I was gonna remind everybody again, a lot of what Clifford said in his talk came from his mother and sister's notes, which are in his book.
Is that right, Doctor?
Yeah,
Yes.
and we are selling this book for $10, unless you're a member, and then it's $7.50. And Clifford said he would even sign the book if you want to buy it tonight.
Sure, I'll be you.
Okay.
Signing those, please.
Any other questions?
Or any
I have
other
another announcement.
questions?
Oh, there's a question.
Yes.
I was reading an obituary. I don't know if it was your father's obituary or your uncle's obituary that said that he helped run the Rosamond, the Sea Scouts, and I noticed he had an address in Newport Harbor. So the Rosamond Boy Scouts had a Sea Scout organization where they learned to sail. Do you know anything about that? I saw it in an obituary. Did he take the boys down to Newport and teach them how to sail down there?
He was a very
It's in the book.
good supporter of the schools, I think, and also he bought a yacht. He had a yacht down
Okay.
in Newport Beach. And we went sailing, because he'd made enough money,
Right.
buy that. And so he had supported the Boy Scouts here too, because he always wanted to do those things. And so then he formed the Sea Scouts. And they went down and sailed out on the boat. And so then later on, after my father died even, and after the war and all that, I went just right after, I guess before he died. When was it? Anyway, anyway, I loaned them, there's still George McNamee and young George McNamee and some others, I've forgotten all those guys. There was about half a dozen, no, maybe 4 or 5. I had station writers. I said, you guys take it, and here's your credit card, take it along on the trip. So, I think they went clear up to Northern California, and spent quite a while. So that was another thing about the Boy Scouts. Was there any other question?
There's one over here.
Yes.
I mean,
We drive by the Tropico Mine every day. We live close by there. We see the old structures and the houses, especially the houses blowing out in the wind and the sun.
They're talking about the old houses that are down, that Glenn brought in,
The camp.
the camp.
oh, yeah.
Are there any plans on preserving it?
Are there any plans to preserve any of those?
Well, they keep talking about, let's see, they were going to move that one, let's see, they wanted to find a place to move it down to Lancaster, I think, in the historical park, but I don't think that's ever been done on that particular building. Now, the one big building that you see furthest to the east, this looks like it's built in Australia, but it was built up at the Solar Gold Mine on the old, what was the name of the family that owned all the Knights? Goodwin, I mean, that's Goodwin Knight, but, no, Knight, he was on the other end, on the east end of, he built this big house. And he made some money in that mine. I just have to think of names. And it was still over there. So they moved that over to the gold mine. So there was nothing there in that area before.
There was, your brother-in-law had brought that in for tourist reasons,
Yeah,
right?
He went in that tourist business, so they began to move into houses. And they got Glenn's old house. His father was a railroad man. He had ran these railroad crew, with Mexican railroad crew, and he lived on the railroad. And so they moved that house, because I think they weren't running rail passengers anymore, so he got that one.
Now, Clifford, those homes were done for tourism.
This was just making a rural western town out of there, except for the box.
I was going to say, except for the the boxcar homes. And what did you tell me about that you could do with a candle in those, in the boxcars? That you could light a candle and...
Refrigerated cars, so it didn't take much of anything to heat them up in the winter time. Like George, so all they had to do was light a candle and warm the place up. I think you took a little more of that. But the other, there's still, you see, one of them fell down, and the other, there's still several in there.
And we really would like to get together some of you guys who have had grandparents, great-grandparents, in-laws, good story writers, to put together a story of the boxcar, of the Burton camp down there for us and put that together.
We already have a start because we have one gentleman who's written for us. His great-grandparents, David, his great-grandparents lived in one of the boxcars.
Yes, so we really would like that. As we close up, this is the 60th anniversary of the Kern Antelope Historical Society. We are really looking for each month to tell a family history, a family story. Next month, I'm going to interview my father. We're going to get a little bit of we're going to get some truth and maybe a whole bunch of lies. I'll show you kind of some things that I've done that have worked and that haven't worked for getting family history as we go into Thanksgiving and Christmas and you're going to visit grandparents and stuff like that. We're hoping to get the Loomis family to share, the Yost family to share, the Winters family to share. So we would really, really like this. We are also wanting written stories put together. So if you could put together a family history, we would like to compile a book of your guys' stories. And you can see just with priming a pulp with some simple pictures what a blessing this has been. So thank you so, so much, Clifford.
This next Sunday, 3 days from now, is the Old Timers Barbecue in Lancaster. And the Historical Society will have a booth. And I was asked to remind you all, if you've been in the valley a while, come to the Old Timers Barbecue. It's a lot of fun. Again, we have these books, and as long as Clifford's here, he'll sign them. I left him my pets. Okay, thank you all for coming.